Welcome students. In the previous class, we have seen that development of plants takes place by two phases, that is through growth and differentiation. We have even seen what is growth, that is increase in irreversible permanent increase in size of the organism, which takes place by the increase in the number of cells, and these cells divide, that is increase in number of cells will be by division of cells, and these cells divide by mitotic division. These cells divide by mitotic divisions. So, we have even seen the characteristics of growth, that is growth is fundamental, conspicuous, it is indeterminate and it is measurable. We have seen how that is we can mathematically we can calculate the growth rate, that is arithmetic and geometric growth rate. We have even seen what is absolute growth rate and relative growth rate. We have also seen these curves for geometric and arithmetic rates. Now, we will see what are the conditions for the growth of living organisms. We said growth will take place. The first stage of growth is seed germination. The first stage of growth is seed germination. Seeds will germinate only when there are favorable conditions. Seeds will germinate only when the conditions are favorable. Favorable conditions. And if conditions are not favorable, then the seeds will undergo a suspension process and it will rest. That period is called as dormancy. This period where seed is unable to germinate because of absence of certain factors. Because of the absence of certain factors, the seed is unable to germinate and it undergoes a suspension and the seed goes in rest for some time till it gets that factors. So, that period in which the seeds will remain inactive, where it will not germinate because of the absence of factors till it gets that factor. So, that period is called as dormancy. So, which will be seen in unfavorable conditions, that is absence of few conditions. But when the conditions are favorable, so favorable conditions in the sense when it has both intrinsic and extrinsic factors. We said that is the conditions are said to be favorable when the intrinsic factors as well as the extrinsic factors which are required by the seeds are present. Then that condition is said to be the favorable condition and the seeds will germinate. In intrinsic conditions, we have that is there are certain things which are present inside the seeds itself, which will be helping in the germination process. Here in intrinsic factors, genetic makeup of that seed and hormone regulators, growth regulators will be there. In intrinsic factors, genetic makeup also plays an important role, and along with genetic makeup, here the growth regulators which are present in the seeds. In the seed also there is something inside which helps, I said now. So, that something is one of these regulators, plant growth regulators. These will be helping in the germination of seeds. When plant growth regulators are not present or not in sufficient amount or whatever is required is not present now, then it will not be germinating. The condition will be unfavorable and it will not be germinating. But if this is present, then we have this extrinsic factors. Intrinsic is genetic makeup, this regulators, plant growth regulators will etc. And coming to this extrinsic factors are nothing but factors on which the seeds are dependent, which are in our surroundings. Environmental factors. Extrinsic is environmental factors. That is the things which are present around the seed in the environment. The things which are present around the seed in the environment. So, we will see this one intrinsic factors we will see afterwards, but coming to this first we will see the extrinsic factors which are required for the growth of the plant, because when seeds germinate it grows into a plant. So, the conditions or the factors here is, the first is water. For the growth of the plants or for germination of the seeds, the seed require water. When plants are growing, the plants will also require water. Water is an essential factor for the growth of the plant. Here water provides. Why is water important? The cell has to be in a particular shape. The cells has to be in a particular shape. So, the water provides turgidity. Water provides turgidity to the cell. That is, it keeps the cell in swollen condition. It keeps the cell in swollen condition. The cell, in order to function properly, it needs to be in turgid form. The cells, in order to function properly, it needs to be in the turgid form. So, to give turgidity, to give the swollenness to the cell, water is very much essential. When water is not there, the cell will not become turgid. In the absence of water, the cell will not become turgid, and when the cell is not turgid, the cell will not be able to perform its function properly. So, water is very essential for turgidity. Apart from that, we also know inside the cell protoplasm will be there, cytoplasm will be present. So, the major content of that cytoplasm is water. 70% of that cytoplasmic content is nothing but water. So, for maintaining the cytoplasmic content, because that cytoplasmic content should be present, because in the cytoplasmic content only that is the medium. Cytoplasm is the medium for enzymatic reactions. Inside the cell, cytoplasm is present, which is, so out in the cytoplasm, the 70% of the cytoplasm is made up of water along with some other substances, we will see later, but the 70% of the cytoplasm, it consists of water. That cytoplasm acts as a medium for enzymatic reactions. That means inside the cell, cytoplasm will be there, and inside the cytoplasm, enzymes will be there. Enzymes will be there which will be helping in the growth of the plants. Enzymes will be there which will be helping in the growth of the plants. If less water, cytoplasmic content will be less. Cytoplasmic content less means the enzymatic reactions will not be proper. So, the growth of plant will not be proper. So, water is essential first to maintain the turgidity of turgidity of cell, provides turgidity to cell, then it provides a medium for enzymatic reactions in the cytoplasm. And when the cell grows in size, the third is when the cell grows in size, when the cell enlarges, it requires water. Cell enlarges, cytoplasm is also needed. For cytoplasm, water is needed. For keeping the cell in the swollen condition, turgid condition, water is essential. So, cell will be enlarged only when at that time. So, here for enlargement of cell, for maintaining the turgidity, for keeping the medium for enzymatic reactions, for all these things, water is essential. So, water is one of the factors which is required for the growth of the plant. Without water, the growth cannot take place. The next is oxygen. The next condition or the next factor which is required for the growth of the plant is oxygen. We all know how that is living organisms, how living organisms gets energy. The food which we take will get oxidized. The digested food will be mixed with oxygen, then it produces energy. So, here oxygen is required for the oxidation of food. Plants also require energy. Plants also require food. They produce their own food and they use it for themselves as well as give to others. It will be for other organisms also, but they will also need to use the food. Why they will be using the food? In order to get the energy to perform all the processes. So, to get the energy, the food needs to be oxidized. That oxidation of food will take place only when oxygen is available. If oxygen is available, it combines with the food and releases the energy. It releases energy. But if oxygen is not present in the surrounding, proper oxygen is not there, then oxidation of food will be affected. When oxidation of food is affected, the production of energy will be affected. Energy is less, then the plant growth will also be affected. So, the next condition is oxygen. Water is essential, oxygen is very essential. Then the third is nutrients. We all know that nutrients are divided into two categories, that is micronutrients and macronutrients. So, for this, here for synthesis of protoplasm for these nutrients, plants require nutrients, and for the synthesis of the nutrients which acts as the source of energy, for synthesis of this we require nutrients. We said cell requires protoplasm. So, for the formation of this protoplasm, we require micro and macronutrients. The cell will have protoplasm. For the formation of protoplasm, macro and micronutrients are required. So, the third thing which is required, the third condition for the growth of plant is nutrient. Apart from nutrient, another factor which helps is the temperature. Temperature also plays a very important factor. The temperature should be best suited. It should be optimum. The temperature should be optimum. The best suited temperature is called as the optimum temperature, at which the growth of the plant will be maximum. At very less temperature also, growth will not be taking place properly. At very high temperature also, growth will be affected. So, for the proper growth of the plant, that is optimum temperature should be present. So, optimum temperature is also one important factor. Apart from that, another factor is light. Light, we all know, it plays a very major role. With the help of the light only, that is, plants are able to produce their own food with the help of, by the process of photosynthesis. We will see how light is affecting photosynthesis in another chapter. A total one whole chapter is dedicated for this. How light is essential, that is how process of photosynthesis will be carried out. But as of now, light is very important factor which helps in carrying out the process of photosynthesis, and it is also help in movement of plants. Plants will show movement, the plants tends to move in the direction of the light. So, that movement of plants towards the direction of light is called as phototropism. Photo is light. So, wherever that is the sunlight is coming, the plants will be moving in that direction. So, phototropism is dependent on light. And next is another factor is gravity, growth towards the soil. Growth towards the soil. Gravity is also very essential because the roots will be growing towards gravity. For example, if this is a plant, it is a plant. Here this is the sunlight. Okay, it shows. So here now the plants tend to bend in the direction of the sunlight. Plants tend to bend in the direction of the sunlight. This property is called as phototropism. Here the shoot will be growing towards the light. The shoot will be growing towards the light. The root will be growing away from the root. The growth of the root will be from here till here, like this it will grow. The root will grow towards the gravity. The root will grow towards the gravity. So it is away from sunlight. The shoot is growing towards with the help of the sunlight. So this is positively phototropic. This is negatively phototrophic, that is moving away from light. It is moving towards light, bending towards light. Same with gravity. Here that is grow towards gravity. Now this, it is moving towards gravity. So this is positively geotropic, that is moving towards gravity. This is negatively geotropic. So the stem of the plant shows positive phototropism and negative geotropism, whereas root shows negative phototropism and positive geotropism. That is, gravity is also essential for the growth of the roots towards the soil. This light is also essential because the stem tends to bend in the direction of the light, and light also plays a major role in the process of photosynthesis, by which we get plants produce the food and all the other living organisms will get the food because of the process of photosynthesis, and that photosynthesis is only because of the light. So here these are the extrinsic conditions which are required for the growth of the plants. We will study about them, a little more about them in the coming topics. In the next class we will start with differentiation. Till now we have finished all the things which are related with the growth, that is how many types of growth on quantitative, based on quantitative ways, based on mathematical expressions, and here we have seen the characteristics of growth also, we have seen the conditions for growth also. In the next class we will see what is differentiation, and then we will go for the other intrinsic factors, that is growth regulators, plant growth regulators.